Good evening and welcome to a new edition of the Daily Debate. I'm your host for this Thursday, Mohammed Abdurrahim. We'll be talking U.S., Iran, Israel, Lebanon, and Labor Day, May Day. The U.S. President is weighing his military options. Another operation targeting potentially energy facilities in Iran, maybe assassinations, maybe in an operation in Hormuz Strait itself, maybe an operation about getting the uranium. He's still weighing the options. Mr. Trump, who says the storm is coming and no more Mr. Nice Guy. So what happened to the siege, the siege that Mr. Trump said was much more effective and less risky than a return to military hostilities? Hormuz is closed not only by the U.S. but also by Iran from the Arab Sea side, and we saw a written statement by the Iranian Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei today talking about Hormuz, talking about unity, talking about the continuation of resistance against the Americans and their presence in the region. The U.S.-Iran situation and the Israel-Lebanon situation, how will they affect each other? And what kind of ceasefire really is taking place in Lebanon? Is this a ceasefire? And a lot of other things, including a big spike in oil prices, huge spike at the end of April because it was the last chance to get the June contract. Now we're going to move to the July contract. Maybe this is the reason, maybe not, because Mr. Qalibov, the Iranian parliamentary speaker, says to America, next stop is 140. We'll see. With us now here in the studio is Dr. Milad, Momtaz, the expert on political and economic affairs and the international relations professor. Good evening, Dr. Momtaz. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Dr. Momtaz will first talk May Day, Labor Day, and His Excellency the President today attended the ceremony marking Labor Day. Addressing the attendees, President Sisi hailed Egyptian workers, asserting that they are the cornerstone of construction and development across the country. The head of state noted that Egypt spares no efforts in localizing heavy industries and empowering the workforce to build a better future. President Sisi affirmed that Made in Egypt is not just a motto, but rather a national pledge for a stronger economy with Egyptian hands. He instructed the implementation of the national strategy for operation and submittal of regular reports on its outcome. President Sisi also called on the private sector and the civil community to prioritize vocational training along advanced methodologies. The President also honored some distinguished labor figures and some people of determination workers in recognition of their efforts in serving the nation. In the course of the ceremony, President Sisi inaugurated via video conference a number of industrial projects in Port Said. And with us now live over the phone is Mr. Mustafa Rustum. And Mr. Rustum is the former head of the External Affairs Committee at the Egyptian Workers Union. Mr. Rustum, good evening and happy May Day.
Good evening and happy Labor Day, Papa. Thank you.
Mr. Rustum, the President today in his speech hailed the Egyptian workers. He asserted that they are the cornerstone of construction and development across the country, and he gave out several important messages. The highlights of the President's speech for you, Mr. Rustum.
Good evening and congratulations on what we call it about the 1st of May. What I'd like to tell you that this celebration today has had a very important things that have been highlighted, the figures of the 1st of May. And when we talk about this celebration, it has been different because the President has highlighted a lot of important issues, underlying the importance of training, as you mentioned now about the private sector, and also highlighted also the informal sector protection. and how it has been raised to 1,500 for 3 months. And actually this step, it is very important step taken by His Excellency, not the first time. It has been a few years ago also, when Egypt has been the first in the Middle East to take this issue to find an umbrella for the informal sector people. Now, even the compensation against accident, against the workers' conditions, and even disabilities at work, all has been, compensation has been now doubled. So it is a very important thing when the President also is reassuring that the worker is the main access for the development of the country.
Indeed. Mr. Rostom, the President also affirmed that Made in Egypt is not just a motto, but rather a national pledge for a stronger economy with Egyptian hands, making a pledge to localize, to do more efforts in localizing the industry in Egypt and even localizing the components of the industry itself. How important indeed is that element in the future of the Egyptian industry and in the workers' future?
Actually, when we talk about the celebration this year, His Excellency has inaugurated a lot of important projects, taking on what we call it the importance of the industry and of the people.
Right.
And also he has highlighted the importance of vocational training for the economy, asking the private sector to give a hand and to go ahead. Don't forget, a very important step, it has been internationally accredited that now we have the supreme policies for employment, national policy for employment now in cooperation with the ILO, and it has a very important accreditation about the importance of Egypt, and it's going respecting the ILO conventions and the ILO system and regulation in accordance to United Nations important goals for 2030.
Indeed. Mr. Mustafa Rostom, the former head of the External Affairs Committee at the Egyptian Workers' Union, thank you very much for your time, and again, happy May Day, happy Labor Day. And so we're back here to our main topic now, and a lot of questions that will be posed to our distinguished guest, Dr. Milad Momtaz, the External Affairs expert and the Professor of International Relations. Many points. Pakistan, by the way, still says everything is possible, the main mediator. The French defense minister had very interesting and scary remarks, really. The French defense minister warning that Iran is on, that Lebanon is on the edge of civil war. This is how she put it. A lot of questions that will be posed here. What happened to the international community's efforts to reopen Hormuz? I mean, why the US and Iran are taking the global economy hostage at the moment. A lot of questions that we'll be posing to Dr. Milad Momtaz, including maybe the most important question, at least in my mind, are we back to square one? There's a feeling that this war is just about to restart again, or that we finished one war and we'll get to another war. He will tell us what he thinks, Dr. Momtaz, dear viewers, but first, a report about our main topic, and then we come back. It's going to be the quick, as usual, Q&A session. Please, Dr. Momtaz and dear viewers, stay with us.
Tensions between the United States and Iran have entered a critical phase as political rhetoric and military signaling intensify across the Middle East. What began as a prolonged standoff marked by sanctions and regional rivalries has now taken on a sharper edge, raising concerns among global powers and international observers. Both sides appear to be carefully calibrating their moves, balancing between escalation and restraint. At the center of the crisis is Iran's ongoing struggle under economic sanctions, which have placed significant pressure on its economy and domestic stability. Tehran has repeatedly called for the lifting of these measures, framing them as unjust and a major obstacle to any meaningful diplomatic progress. In response, Washington has maintained that sanctions remain a necessary tool to curb Iran's regional influence and nuclear ambitions. Recent developments suggest that Iran may be considering more assertive measures to strengthen its negotiating position. Among the most sensitive of these is the strategic Strait of Hormuz, a narrow but crucial waterway through which a significant portion of the world's oil supply passes. Any disruption in this corridor would have immediate and far-reaching consequences for global energy markets. Iranian officials have hinted that the cities of the strait could become a bargaining chip in ongoing tensions. While not explicitly confirming plans to close it, the messaging suggests that Tehran is willing to escalate if its demands, particularly the lifting of sanctions and an end to hostilities, are not addressed. Such statements have been met with concern by international stakeholders. The United States, for its part, has responded with a mix of diplomatic caution and military readiness. Officials have reiterated their commitment to ensuring freedom of navigation in international waters, emphasizing that any attempt to block the strait would be met with a strong response. At the same time, Washington has signaled openness to negotiations under specific conditions. Behind the scenes, diplomatic channels remain active, albeit fragile. Reports indicate that indirect talks and mediations are ongoing, involving regional and international actors seeking to prevent further escalation. These efforts reflect a shared understanding that direct confrontation could have devastating consequences not only for the region but for the global economy. Energy markets have reacted nervously to the uncertainty, with fluctuations in oil prices reflecting fears of potential supply disruptions. The Strait of Hormuz remains a vital artery for global trade, and even the suggestion of instability has been enough to trigger concern among investors and policymakers alike. Analysts suggest that both Washington and Tehran are engaged in a strategic game of pressure and signaling, each seeking to gain leverage without crossing into full-scale conflict. This dynamic has created a volatile environment in which miscalculations could quickly spiral into a broader crisis. As the situation continues to evolve, the focus remains on whether diplomacy can prevail over confrontation. The coming weeks may prove decisive in determining whether the current tensions lead to renewed negotiations or further escalation. For now, the world watches closely, aware that the stakes extend far beyond the immediate actors involved.
Thank you very much for staying with us, and thank you, Sarah Slim, for this report. We're here with Dr. Milad Momtaz, the International Relations Professor and the Political and Economic Expert. Now, Dr. Momtaz, I don't know where to start from. Where do you want to start from?
Actually, that's a tough question. It's tough where to start because no one knows where we should start, by the way. So that's not, I think, a side question. That's a very crucial question because everyone in the world is asking the same question.
Are we back to square one? I mean, this just comes to mind, really. Have we finished a phase and we're getting into another one? Or are we simply in a new war? Now we have all the cards uncovered. Because before the February 28th, each party didn't know exactly of the strength of each other's cards. But now that all of the cards have been uncovered, So this is a new phase or a new war, but cards are on the table now. What do you think?
I think, you know, to address the question where we are now, I think we are in the middle of nowhere. Literally, we are in the middle of nowhere. And I mean it, okay, especially when it comes to the economic situation in the world.
Right.
Because we are talking now about $120 a barrel today. What about 3-4 days from now? What about if we're talking about, by the way, I'm not talking about hypothetically, by the way.
Right.
Practically speaking, you know, we never know. We don't know anything about the world and what will become of the world in 2 weeks from now. And this is very, very critical. And concerning the cards, those cards, I think everyone knows about those cards a long time ago. Even when the United States of America wanting to say that, okay, while we are surprised, we are shocked that the resilience of the Iranians, I'm shocked myself when Americans talk like this. You've never heard of the Iranians? By the way, we're not taking sides, but I'm stating a fact. As they entered the war, the Americans, they were expecting that it would take like maybe a couple of days, or maybe, as I heard of one analyst in the United States of America, they would take a couple of hours, and I was kind of surprised, you know, a couple of hours was a country that weight of Iran that would take just a couple of hours or even a couple of days.
It was shocking also to hear the Americans say that they did not expect Iran to use the Strait of Hormuz card, or that they did not expect Iran to hit at Arab Gulf countries. I mean, that's also surprising.
Okay, now it's an open confrontation. Iran, actually maybe last year in the 12-year war, they had some limitations, if I may, okay, but this war is different because the United States of America was very insisting day one. We want to get rid of the regime, want to topple the regime, and we want to get a new one. Iran, by the way, once again, I'm not justifying any sort of deeds. It's highly condemned. We condemn whatever actions, okay, being made by Iran against their neighbors. This is very actually evident. On the other hand, when talking about, okay, the war itself, okay, and about the cards, okay, by the way, those actually were among the cards. So one of the cards, let's say like attacking the, okay, maybe naval or the bases, American bases in the Gulf. That was one of the cards. But Americans, they were not expecting. And I'm wondering myself about the word expectation.
It seems that the Americans still have a miscalculation or a misunderstanding of the situation. Why? Because Mr. Trump keeps saying Iran has no cards. America has all the cards. Isn't this a miscalculation, Dr. Momtaz? And please tell us, who has which card at the moment in phase 2 or phase 3 or whatever?
What I'm afraid of is that, okay, that Mr. Donald Trump doesn't read history. The United States of America got involved in Vietnam, and actually American presidents back then, they said the same thing. We got all cards and we can finish the war in no time. Back in 1960s into 1970s. And they lost the war in a very scandalous way. And they still recall this. However, maybe Mr. Donald Trump doesn't want to remember this. Okay, and it was very clear. They said that we had all cards back then, but they forgot about, you know, so many crucial cards back in Vietnam. Let me remind the Americans and everyone of another crucial example. 2003 in Iraq. Americans said the same thing. Okay, and they added up something else that was kind of like shocking back then. It's about what democracy in the Middle East. We are doing this for the sake of democracy in Iraq, and we had all cards. What turned out to be that, okay, it was so messed up, the whole thing in Iraq. If you may, a third example, okay, in Afghanistan. Okay, they said that we got the most sophisticated and very advanced weapons. What happened in Afghanistan, militarily speaking? Military, what happened in Afghanistan? So once again, when someone actually is making such claim that I have cold cards.
Which cards does America have and which cards does Iran have in your personal opinion at the moment, Dr. Momtaz?
One of the most crucial cards on the American side is what, of course, the military capabilities. This is the strongest military in the world. They've got the latest weapons. We can list whatever long number of weapons they've got it, and it's the most sophisticated. Okay, talking about the latest, for example, missiles. Okay, the stealth that airplane.
Yeah, Mr. Trump keeps reminding the world every day.
Exactly.
And he says that nobody's even close. These are the words of Mr. Trump.
We get that, but let me remind him once again of the example that I made a couple of seconds ago of Vietnam. They say the same thing. So that's one of the most crucial cards. That's the strongest cards that Mr. Trump has got.
And it's very evident in the implementation of the siege on the Iranian ports at the moment.
Definitely.
With a very heavy buildup.
Very clear. On the other hand, when making the claim that that Iranians, they've got nothing and they've got no cards, I deeply doubt this. That's not true. Vietnamese had cards, Iraqis had cards, Afghans had cards, Iranians have cards.
So what are Iran's cards at the moment?
They have, in my mind, we can make or categorize, the cards into a couple of things. Okay, one crucial category is the internal cards, the Iranians cards, and we have non-Iranian cards. Iranian cards is resilience. Okay, those people, they have a project. They are defending a project, advocating an ideology, and that's not simple. That's not easy to fight. That's not easy to encounter. Yeah, we have got the latest weapons. Get the latest weapons ever, but facing an ideology, I think that's pretty challenging.
Right.
By the way, I'm not assessing the ideology. That's something else.
Understood. You're analyzing the situation.
Okay,
that's understood,
exactly.
Dr.
So, but I'm assessing the situation. Okay, on the other hand, we shouldn't forget that ideology,
Please go ahead.
ideology has been there for almost half a century.
Right.
Meaning, it's not about yesterday or the day before yesterday. They've been working on deepening that project for a very long time. So,
you said the Iranian cards.
The Iranian
Can
cards.
we consider that they still have partially a card related to Hormuz or a card related to the uranium they still possess?
Okay, definitely as well. The Strait of Hormuz is a crucial card.
I said partially because America has taken something away from it.
Yeah. Okay, but there is still one of the cards as well. But I'd like to trace back, the roots. That's why I'm talking about the ideology. So the Hormuz, the Strait of Hormuz, is one of the practical measures that they could actually take advantage of. Okay. However, on the other hand, in my mind, another crucial category of
non-Iranian cards.
The non-Iranian cards. We shouldn't forget about something. Okay, a party, a player that's actually very evident.
Russia?
And another
China?
one, another one which is not really evident.
Okay.
The one is evident. We saw it a couple of days ago in the meeting between Araki and Mr. Putin. And it was very clear. Even he thanked, Mr. Putin of supporting Iran. And we shouldn't forget something else. The phone call yesterday between Mr. Donald Trump and Mr. Putin.
90 minutes.
Yeah.
Can they reach anything about Iran? Do you think any progress has been made about... What do you think was mentioned about Iran in those 90 minutes? Surely they talked to Ukraine as well and other things. But surely Iran was heavily present.
Of course.
What do you think they agreed on or talked about?
Definitely. I think one of the topics that was raised in the phone call was that, that maybe Russians, and I think that's been actually, they're out there, in the air for a couple of days now, or maybe I think a couple of weeks, about, maybe Russians would actually, help out, with that issue of uranium, enriched uranium.
Right.
Okay, because, by the way, Russians, they are actually, running the only internationally, acknowledged,
nuclear
plant, the Bushar. Okay, and one of the offers, one of the things, one of the ideas was that, they be in charge at that place, they enriched uranium. So I think Russians, they are trying, and I think, yesterday's phone call was, I think, so distinctive in my mind for a very crucial reason. That, both of them, they got involved in an encounter, one in Ukraine and the other one in Iran. And actually, both of them, they want to get the max out of both of them, of Iran and of Ukraine. So I think in that high level, high profile, okay, of that kind. I wouldn't call it coordination, okay, but that kind of discussion, and that's, face to face. And I think that's pretty crucial, because now we talk about, okay, the two leaders, okay, in a phone call, and I think, according to what we heard and what we said, it was so candid. It was so straightforward. So the two leaders, I think they were going to bring an end to both of them, both of the issues. So, and that's why yesterday was totally different, two different phone calls. Previous phone calls maybe focused primarily on Ukraine and the war in Ukraine, but now it's about the situation in the Middle East, and not only in the Middle East, as we mentioned before, about the situation in the whole world, the economic situation, because that has been very evident everywhere across the world. Americans have been complaining about the economic situation. So if you may, if we want to go back to the cars, there are cars on the Iranian side.
What about the pressure that both sides are facing? We understand Iran is facing, of course, very heavy economic pressure. The siege is really hurting them on their ports. We understand there are pressures on Mr. Trump internally. We're seeing what the Democrats are doing to the U.S. Secretary of War today in Congress. But please expand for us and tell us about the pressures that both sides are facing, because the time card as well is very, very important. And the claim is from both sides is that the time card is ours. So we want to know what you think about that specific issue.
I really like to talk about this crucial point about playing for time.
Yeah.
Both of them actually are making the same claim.
Right.
We are playing for time.
Absolutely.
In my mind, time is against both of them. It's not in favor of both of them. It's very much against both of them. Americans have been claiming and have been saying that, okay, no time is in our favor, and I don't think so. Americans, as I said before, okay, no, they are complaining about the situation, and they are not satisfied. And let me remind that the 60-day, okay, of the authorization, okay, the war powers authorization is now, I think it's tomorrow.
Right.
They should actually take action.
So what will happen?
Okay,
you think?
Mr. Donald Trump, he will ignore the Congress.
Okay.
Definitely he will ignore the Congress. Why? He doesn't want anything, the Congress would be like playing some active role in this. So I think in my mind, he wouldn't take any action. He wouldn't actually go to the Congress. He wouldn't ask for an extension, despite the fact that, let me remind everyone of what Mr. Hector said today and yesterday in front of the congressmen, that what they need a lot of money. And when one of them asked him about how much money was spent, or actually has been spent, and actually said, okay, only what, $25 billion. Right. And then, okay, what, $25 billion? Okay,
so why are they asking for $1.5 trillion as a budget for the defense in the upcoming period?
Yeah,
that's a scary number.
That means directly that more militarization, with the stockpiling, the weapons, and because Pete Hexas has made it and has said that in a very clear way that that's the only way of having the upper hand. If we want to keep actually the upper hand, okay, so we should make sure that we get.
So will this pass? I mean, $1.5 trillion? Will this pass?
That's so staggering. That's so staggering. And actually, the congressmen and the Congress itself, I feel it's highly paralyzed. It's very much inactive. They should play a much more active role in facing that kind of situation. Because when you keep on militarizing a country, and unsurprisingly on my side, despite the fact that it's not in favor of the whole world, Mr. Donald Trump has been asking Europe to remilitarize once again. Militarization of Europe, and actually Germany has been spending billions of euros on this. So I don't get it. You are taking the world into some unknown direction.
Right.
Because militarization, can we imagine? Because let me remind you, actually everyone, that happened prior to World War I. The militarization of the world, namely Europe, that happened before World War I, and before World War II, of course, in Europe again. So it's not in favor of anyone. It's not in the interest of anyone in the world. When you keep asking Europe, okay, you should militarize, and what you have been doing in North America, militarizing, and actually putting and asking for more and more budget, more and more money, and instead, and that's surprising as well, in the hearing of Mr. Hectus, and instead the administration that has actually, it's back to the White House. Okay, one of the key promises was what? The economic situation. Okay, now it's not about the economic promises. They are talking about some other promises. They are talking about the military promises. We want to be back, want to be the most powerful, want to be the scariest country in the world. So what about the economic situation? What about the economic promises that you made? And actually, let me remind everyone of that campaigns, the presidential campaign, it was very clear.
And no wars as well.
Exactly.
I'm
sorry. Let me ask you, because you said something which is very crucial about no more wars.
Right.
Is that what we're seeing now?
But he has stopped 8 wars, Dr. Momtaz.
Okay, and actually what's happening in the world nowadays, and a demilitarization of the world.
Right. Now, really, the most interesting thing and intriguing thing for me today, it might sound not so serious, but it is really serious. I mean, in the latest verbal spat between Mr. Trump and the German Chancellor, Mr. Merz, Mr. Trump asked Mr. Merz, he claimed that he knows nothing about, Iran or their goal to own a nuclear weapon, and that he knows nothing about the dangers of such a thing. That's Mr. Trump's claim. But the thing is, Mr. Trump has had a verbal spat now with the German Chancellor, with the French President, with the British Prime Minister, with the Pope.
With the Italian Prime Minister.
With the Italian Prime Minister, with the Pope, and you name it. I mean, I can hardly think of someone who he hasn't had a verbal spat with except the Pope's brother and the Israeli Prime Minister, the war crime suspect. So, I mean, this is on a more serious note now. I mean, it seems that Trump and Netanyahu are basically against the whole world at the moment. This is how it looks like. I hope I'm not really simplifying things, but this is what happens at the United Nations. This is what happens in voting on resolutions. This is what happens everywhere. It seems those two are on one side, then you have the whole world on the other side, and a lot of people in the middle. That's what it looks like.
Okay, I wouldn't be agreeing more on this, because it's very evident.
Of course, you can always add the Marshall Islands, I don't remember what it's saying, but you can also add Argentina at the moment.
Yeah.
Hungary a few weeks ago. You can always add. Yeah, exactly. So you can always add 1, 2, or 3 countries depending on who rules them.
Okay, so I'd like actually to highlight something, okay, which is, I think it's crucial, that when you always make that kind of claim that you know what the right thing is, and we always attack others that what they know nothing about Iran. Okay, Spain doesn't know anything about the Middle East. Spain doesn't know anything about Gaza. Okay, I think that's what we've been hearing for the last couple of years.
Right.
And he has been attacking the Spanish Prime Minister very heavily. Okay, and Italy. And lately, the German Chancellor.
When you say Germany, France, Britain, Spain, and Italy, this is Europe, basically.
Definitely.
These are the 5 big countries in Europe.
Yeah, the key players in Europe. But I'd like to make a comment on the latest one, about the German Chancellor. Okay, because he attacked the German Chancellor because he said that, you got into a war that you don't know how to exit. Okay, that you don't have any plan, you don't have any vision. And he got mad because of this. How would you call me that, that I don't have a vision? Of course, I have a vision. And that question is one of the most crucial ones, one of the most important questions. Now, even in the United States of America, he has been heavily attacked, and Trump and his administration, because of this.
So how is he going to end it? Because he now has options before him. We hear media reports saying that Mr. Trump might be weighing hitting energy facilities in Iran, having an operation in Hormuz, having an operation to get the uranium out, assassinating top leaders in Iran. And we've been also hearing from him that he can finish everything in 15 minutes. So how is he going to end it? He claimed that this is going to be a win-win situation. We're going to have a deal. Everybody's going to be happy. Iran is going to be happy. The United States is going to be happy. The world is going to be happy. But now he's back to the old rhetoric again. Surrender. Complete surrender. 100% of America's demands. No less. The word complete surrender and capitulation came back again. Maybe today, maybe yesterday, after it had disappeared for a while. That word was there before the war. And in weeks 1, 2, 3, until week 9, it disappeared for a little bit. Now it's back again. And we all know about Iranians. They will not surrender. They will not give him the complete surrender. So how are we going to end this?
Okay, I think, okay, both of them, they are like, you know, face to face now, head to head. You know, United States of America will not back down. Okay, Iranians will not back down. I think, you know, the only solution is like a compromise. That's the most feasible thing, you know, and that's the most required. That's, you know, the awaited thing, you know, to all of us. We've been waiting for this because actually United States of America, you know, getting or forcing Iran, okay, to surrender, I think that's pretty difficult. And actually, you know, once again, it's about what ground forces on actually, you know, the land, the mass land of Iran. That is very dangerous to the Americans.
That's why the other question was posed is, are Iranians daring him as well to do something?
Definitely, definitely, because they're playing the same game. They want to actually, you know, to escalate the situation in the United States of America and outside of the United States of America, because everyone has been asking Trump to end the war. So they are playing the same game.
It's amazing that every single claim the U.S. puts against Iran is replied to by exactly in the same way by Iran via a claim against the United States. Every single thing, including, amazingly, when Mr. Trump said that Iranians are not unified, they're divided. So the same day, the Iranians reply, and America is divided. Look at what the Democrats are doing. Whichever claim comes out of the U.S. against Iran, in moments, you see the reply, you know, tit for tat. It's amazing. Even the verbal exchanges. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. But however, on the ground,
this is not healthy at all.
It's not. It's extremely dangerous. And okay, most of the time I say that okay that we are out of vocab. Vocab is not enough situation. It's extremely dangerous. And both of them, they should realize the seriousness of the situation. Mr. Donald Trump, sometimes when listening to him, I feel sometimes he doesn't really get that its situation is very serious, and if it gets out of hand, especially in economic terms. Okay, we've been seeing this once again. I know that I'm repeating myself, but I mean it. Economically speaking, we should look at Europe. Okay, and Europe is the main bulwark in the world economy, and they are suffering, you know.
The whole world is suffering.
The whole world
Our region is suffering.
Definitely, definitely. So I think, you know, they should come to their senses as soon as possible.
Right, that's logic.
They have to.
That is logic, but does Mr. Trump want this compromise? Obviously, he believes he is in a much, much better position than the Iranians, and this is why he's going for, you know, all or nothing. And the Iranians probably realize that they are in a difficult situation at the moment, but they will not surrender. This is Iran. And they will try to make the counterattack. They'll try to take this game into extra time. And they have a chance.
Playing for time once again. So, okay, as I said before, time is okay. It's okay on either side. On either side, no, they don't have.
Both sides.
Okay, yeah. So, and I think, you know, the word itself, we've been actually, you know, looking for this. We've been wanting actually to convey that kind of message to both of them. We've been asking both of them, the Iranians and the Americans, to back down, because actually the world itself is suffering. When taking that very crucial strait, you know, it's hostage, you know, and the whole world, the economy of the whole world, I think that's pretty serious situation. And I think the word itself, and I think, you know, that kind of message is being conveyed to Mr. Trump from all around the world that actually, please, you need to bring an end to that war. But let me point out something I think that would play a crucial role in all of this.
Please.
That I think most of us, that we know it, but we don't want to discuss it maybe. It's about Israel. Israel at the heart of all of this, the main issue. And I think we should always talk about this.
Thank you for bringing this up, Dr. Momtaz. That was going to be my next point, actually, because I was going to say we have 3-4 minutes remaining, so we have to mention this.
At the heart of all of this, it's Israel.
Meddling, of course, and wanting the wars to continue. I was going to ask you about what kind of ceasefire is Lebanon witnessing at the moment? And what kind of ceasefire is Gaza witnessing at the moment? It seems the ceasefire from the Israeli point of view, Dr. Momtaz, is that I'm protected, I'm not going to be hit by missiles, I'm not going to lose soldiers, but and I'm going to hit my enemy with 25% of the regular force, 30%, 33%. It seems to be like, this is the compromise, this is what I will give you. I will not hit you with 100% force. 25, 30, 33, but I'm securing myself and I'm grabbing more land. It seems to be, and there seems to be an American green light. Even if Mr. Trump was heard saying a couple of weeks ago, like enough is enough, or Israel has to stop, or everybody's going to be treated fairly. Remember when you talked about Gaza? So, please expand.
Okay.
And how can the Lebanon-Israel situation progress? We're supposed to have talks between Netanyahu and Aoun very soon. How can it progress? And how will both files affect each other? The Israel-Lebanon path and the U.S.-Iran path. That's the final question. You have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Firstly, let me say that, it's the Israeli version of ceasefire. Okay, that we've never seen it before. When it's a ceasefire, and actually it's in the word, ceasefire, stop it. We should stop fighting. But actually that's the Israeli way of doing things. We have seen this in Gaza. It was very evident, despite the fact that, the universal condemnation, we still recall this. Okay.
And we have a board of peace.
Yeah. And actually, in Lebanon, once again, Israel, and back to Israel again and again and again, because it's the heart of all of this, once again, that they want to do it their own way. When it comes to Lebanon, they want to do it their own way. When it comes to peace in Lebanon, they want to do it their own way. When negotiating with the Lebanese president, they want to do it their own way, on our own conditions. We actually dictate the whole thing. Yeah, and you may call it peace. If you want to call it, I'm talking about Lebanese. If you want to call it peace, we call it peace.
The French defense minister is warning from civil war in Lebanon. And France knows a lot about Lebanon.
Definitely. But once again, it's the Israeli way. And I'm sorry, I know we're running out of time, but let me actually remind everyone of something else. The great, Middle East. Once again, do we believe, and that has to do with the Iranian war, by the way.
Sir, all of what you're saying means that Israel is dictating America.
Definitely, despite the fact that, they've been denying this, but I think even Americans themselves, they know that. They know it by heart that it's being dictated by Israel.
We'll see how things turn out, but in all cases, we always pray for peace, but we are really worried that we could be already back to square one. Thank you very much, Dr. Milad Momtaz, as always, for your time and for your valuable insight. It's always a pleasure to have you with us. Dr. Momtaz is the Professor of International Relations and the expert on political and economic affairs. And thank you for watching us. Please do stay with Nile TV.